Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want, for he makes me to lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside still waters.
Earlier I told Eddie about our Advent and how we came up with 10,000 reasons for gratitude, and today we added one more reason, so we have 10,001 reasons for gratitude, and that 10,001st reason is Eddie and his ministry that he's brought here and blessed our parish with. So again, thank you. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have 200,000 reasons. I think we could do it, yeah? And at the end of the month, we're going to have the Iraqi Christians here, the Chaldean Catholic community, to worship with us at this Mass, January 25th. And last night at Eddie's service, he raised $3,500 for us to give to the Iraqi Christians, the refugees who have come to the United States seeking freedom. So he set the bar high, but we're going to have to do the same when they're here with us. They need our love. They need our support. We're at the end of the Christmas season. We still have our Christmas decorations up. That's the problem with Christmas decorations. Once you put them up, you have to take them down, except some people who leave them up all year. But they'll be down next week. But one of the things we've watched or listened to in the gospel was the birth in Bethlehem, the visit of the shepherds, and then last week, the visit of the Magi. And we know that after the Magi came, the angel spoke to Joseph in a dream and said, Joseph, take the child and his mother and flee to the land of Egypt. And he did that, and they stayed there till it was safe to return, and the angel told him to return. And so they went back to Nazareth, and we're told there Jesus grew in wisdom, age, and grace. And we don't know much about the early life of Jesus, except for that one little incident in the temple where Joseph and Mary couldn't find Jesus for 3 days. And when they find him, Mary says to him, son, we've been looking for you everywhere for 3 days. And Jesus says, did you not know I must be about my Father's business? I must be about my Father's business. And I think the gospel writer put that in there as a signal to the rest of us. We who are the disciples of Jesus are supposed to be about our Father's business. There's a lot of business we conduct, a lot of futile business we conduct, a lot of things we do to earn success in the eyes of this world or just to make ourselves look good. The gospel says we're supposed to be about the Father's business. And here's the problem with that. If you don't know the Father, how could you know his business? Think of it like this, like a family-owned business. The son works for the father and keeps the business going. Why? Because the son knows one day the business will be his. So he has a vested interest in it. Well, we have a vested interest in the Father's business as well, because Jesus promised to us that the Father's kingdom will be ours. So we work and do the Father's work. It's not always easy, it's not always clear, but it's the one thing we know that we have to do. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, I have come to reveal the Father. And that's what we've been given, the gift of knowing God, the Father, and of sharing that with other people. I remember a story I saw in the press of a great filmmaker. And he got into a real ugly legal dispute with his great mentor and friend. And this was the man who taught him everything he knew. And it was all throughout the media, and it was just really distasteful to listen to. And what was really going on, it was really the fact that this young man couldn't take the criticism from his mentor. When it was all said and done, one of the friends of both of them said, you know what this was really about? This was really about a very ungenerous father and a son who was looking for love and affirmation. And I think a lot of us can identify with that. We look for love, we look for affirmation, but we don't find it where we need it. And that has devastating effects, especially on young people. But on all people, we carry that hole with us. And unless we come to know the Father, that hole we try to fill with all sorts of things that ultimately can fill us and ultimately turn against us. And we become hopeless people. And when we grow up with parents who are distant, we grow up with parents who are absent, parents who can't communicate their love to us, we feel the effects of that. Even fathers who know it in their minds have a difficult time at times conveying it, whether it's through embarrassment or just they don't know how to get the words out. But what a lot of times we hear are angry voices. We hear doors slamming in our face. And we feel that we have been shut out of something very important, shut out of the love that we so desperately need. And when I was a prison chaplain for a long time, I saw the direct effects of that. The prisoners I worked with, especially those who committed violent crimes, all of them didn't have a father, or had a father who abandoned them, or a father who just could never say, I love you. A father who could just never say, I'm proud of you. And that doesn't justify harmful behavior, but it certainly explains it. And the women incarcerated, 99.9% of them have been abused by their father, their brothers, or their uncles. And that had a devastating effect on the way they saw themselves and the way they understood love. That's why this little gospel we just read, the baptism of Jesus, and this voice that comes from the cloud is so important for us to hear again and again. The Father says to Jesus, you are my beloved Son. In you I am well pleased. If we've never heard that, then we don't really understand love. We don't really understand hope. And we start to look for it in a lot of dark places. I think I've told you the story before. When I was 6 years old, my grandfather gave me my first drink of alcohol. He didn't mean to, he just didn't realize instead of ginger ale, he put whiskey in the glass. But I liked it. It made me feel grown up. So my cousin and I got this great idea to steal my grandfather's alcohol, take it down the basement, and drink it. So we managed to do that and managed to start a fire at the same time. And I burned the house down. So I always say my initial experience with alcohol didn't go so well. I should have learned right then and there, but I didn't. I bring that up because my cousin, we were the same age, we grew up together, and last summer he took his own life. And he got to that point of hopelessness. And I don't think he ever really understood this gospel. I don't think he ever understood that he was God's son, that God was well pleased with him. He tried in his own way, but he could never find it. When God looks at us, he sees us not as we are with all our defects and sinfulness. He sees us as we are through Christ. He sees every believing, baptized Christian as his son. And he speaks the same words over us. You are my beloved son. You are my beloved daughter. In you I am well pleased. And when we don't get that love, then we grow up with bitterness, with anger, hopelessness. We grow up with intimidation. We grow up with fear. And all those things produce horrible fruits, self-destructive behaviors, addictions of every kind, sexual acting out of every kind, violence, and even self-harm. And until we hear that message, we won't be changed. But a lot of us have thankfully heard that message. We've heard it, we've internalized it, and now it's up to us to give it to others. See, that's the work of the Father. That's our Father's business, to spread his love, to touch the broken heart, to reach out to the hopeless, to give aid and comfort to those who most need it. But we won't give it unless we have it. cannot give what you do not have. So listen to those words this week. Let them sit in your head. Let them sit in your heart. You are my beloved's child. You are my precious daughter. You are my precious son. With you, I am well pleased. Hear that word. Let it sink. Let the Father's love touch your hearts, transform your lives, so you, in turn, can transform the lives of others.